Okay, so this is the first video where I explain how to play the game. Now, this is meant to be the scripted version of Secret Lawn Tabletop Simulator. However, you do need 5 or more players to start it, and obviously I'm by myself here, so I'm having to try and play around that. So the board will look slightly different if you play the scripted version. That's what most people play. However, I have incorporated some things from the non-scripted version just to help me out here. Now I'm sitting in black. What that means is in tabletop, basically you get to see everyone's hand. You basically are like the admin, if you will. You get to see everything that's going on. If you're a normal player, you will only be able to see what's inside your box. So if I was a red player, you'd only be able to see what's in here, and everything else would be blank. Just to give that perspective, it would look something like this. Okay. The only thing is that you will never be given all 4 of these cards in your hand in the scripted version. In the scripted version, you'll have it will tell you in the top left-hand corner of your screen what team you're on, who's on your team, and you will only be given these 2 cards: the yes and no card. But I'll explain that in a minute. Okay, so first things first, randomly, this plaque here will be given to someone. So we'll give it to red for now. There we go. Now, this is pretty much the start of the game. There are 3 main roles in the game. There are fascists, Hitler, liberals. And then they have the party membership card of fascists and then liberal. Now, I'll be explaining throughout the whole series. I'll be explaining a 8-player game. In an 8-player game, you have 3 fascists, 5 liberals. Now, the way it works is that the liberals do not know anyone else's role on the board. Hitler also doesn't know any roles on the board, but the 2 fascists know that they're both on the same team, who the Hitler is, and then that would then tell them who all the liberals are. So what we're going to do now is we're going to start the round. Now, in the scripted version, the president plaque will be given to a random player at random, and then you begin the game. However, obviously I have to do this manually. I'm going to start with red. Now red will place the chancellor plaque on whoever he wants. Red goes to white, and then everyone votes with their cards in their hand whether or not they like this play or not. So what you would do is you would put your card face down in front of you. If you like it, you would vote with your yes card, your ya card, or no with your 9 card. Okay, everyone puts their card out. For time's sake, I'll only do this once just to show you. Okay, and then the script will then automatically flip all the cards. Now, a majority is needed to win. If it's a split vote, it does not count, and it will then be passed along to the presidency plaque will be passed along to the next person. Okay, so to explain sort of the objective of the game, liberals are trying to put down liberal policies on the board. Now, once the liberals get to the end here, they win the game. And once the fascists get to the end, they win the game. Now, there are also 2 bullets here. If you shoot Hitler with one of these bullets, liberals win the game. And once we get 3 fascist cards down, we go into this dark red area, which is called Hitler territory. And now if Hitler is elected chancellor, the fascists win the game. That will become more clear once I show you different examples. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll run through this. So this has been upvoted. So there'll be a button here that says draw 3 cards. Red will press that button, and they'll show him the cards. Now, what you want to do as a fascist generally is you want to basically screw over the boards without looking obviously fascist. As liberals, you just want to play as a liberal. You want to play good and you want to be honest. As Hitler, you want to also be honest because you want to be able to see play. That's the general idea. So what Hitler can do here is he has to discard one card from his hand, discards the fascist card, and then puts two cards face down, gives them to his chancellor. His chancellor then looks at these two cards, sees the cards, discards ones that he doesn't like, and then plays the card face down in front on the board. Flips the card, and then what will happen is the script will move along, and the table will ask White, what were you given? White can tell the truth or lie. He would say he was given a choice, and then Hitler here can say, or I should call it Red. Red can then say what they drew, tell the truth or lie, and they would say FFL. So what that means is that they drew fascist, liberal, and White is saying that he was given a choice of fascist, liberal. Okay, I don't want to go too much into strategy in this video. Most of it will make sense in the other videos, but for now, that's how the I guess you'd call it like policy making happens in the game, and then it will keep going round. Nice. It will keep going round to the next person clockwise, and they will also pick someone, and then you'll keep voting. Okay, and it will keep going round. I'll explain how the the first power up on the fascist board works. If a fascist card is played over on top of the power up, it activates the power up. Now, for this specific power up, it allows the president to inspect a player's identity card. Now, an identity card will be this card here. It will be in gold or yellow, and it will basically tell the player what party they belong to, but it will not tell the player whether or not they are actually Hitler. It will just say that they are a fascist or they're liberal. Now, in the scripted version, what will happen is once this is covered, all of these yellow/gold cards will spawn, and the person that is the president, for argument's sake, orange, gets to then click on one of the cards. Now, generally this will be discussed with the table which one to pick. For now, what we'll do is we'll pick purple. Now, what happens is in the scripted version, it will tell him in his personal chat what his card is. For this, we'll do it manually. He'll see that he is liberal, and then what he can do is he can now tell the table whether or not he is or isn't liberal. The only person that knows that what his role is obviously orange. The next power on the fascist board is the president picks the next presidential candidate. So once this is covered, it is activated, and now whoever was the president on this card or this policy gets to choose to give, instead of this automatically going clockwise, give it to anyone that they like. Now, if the previous chancellors and presidents were here, they cannot give the presidency to someone that has been previously elected. However, they can give it to the previously elected chancellor. So this person here can then just give this to anyone that you like, for example, Pink, and then Pink will then play out this one. If this gets upvoted, for example, they'll play this out, and then what happens is it goes back to the previous. It goes back to who it should previously be. So obviously it started here. The next president should be blue, so it goes back to blue after the special election has been finished. Now I should explain that if there are if governments do not go through, there is an election tracker here. Now if you fail the government once, it skips along. Fail it twice, skips along, and then once you fail it one more time, what happens is we reveal and pass the top policy, also known as a top deck, where basically you take the top card and you play it. Now, for argument's sake, that's quite lucky. Normally that doesn't happen. What normally happens is you'll get a fascist card. I'll explain that in more of the strategy part. Now, if this goes through and a fascist policy is played, blue is allowed to now shoot a player on the table. Okay, so you normally would discuss, you would discuss who should get a bullet. Who do you trust with a bullet? Because obviously this person is a fascist, so they could shoot whoever. They would normally shoot someone. And then if they do shoot someone, for example, once they dropped it, that's cemented in place. And the table asks orange, are you Hitler? In the scripted version, there'll be a button here that you press if he's not Hitler. Now, if he is Hitler, that means that the liberals have won the game because they have shot Hitler. If he is not Hitler, in the manual version, we give him a card that says "Not Hitler confirmed." Now, veto power is only activated when the second to last fascist card has been played. What happens here is that the president will give cards to the chancellor, and then the chancellor can ask the president, do you wish to veto? Now, veto basically means, do you wish to basically throw away all the cards that have been played, that have been handed, and put them in the discard pile? If they both say yes, that would confirm that they're both liberals. Because if you were a fascist, you would obviously say no to that, and you would force the player to play the fascist card. So that would then confirm these two as liberals. And what would happen is that the election track, say the election tracker was here, the election tracker would move one across, and then we would pretty much, I would call that, I don't know, negate that play. And then it would be the next person's turn. And then they would obviously play it out, and then go from there. The last thing to explain would be Hitler being elected. If you do pass chancellorship to Hitler in this scenario here, we ask, like we have for these two here, are you Hitler? This person has to tell the truth, because that wouldn't make any sense, because they would win the game if they are chancellor. And then basically the game would just end. So that's why you want to be careful after you reach the Hitler mark, or Hitler territory, to beware of who could be Hitler. Hopefully this has been helpful in terms of how to play the game. It's a very quick rundown. I mostly want to talk about the strategy, or like intermediate strategies of the game. If you do have any questions, I don't mind answering them. I can quite easily help in terms of trying to figure things out. Anything you want me to improve on or talk about, I can definitely do it as well.